Globe, globe, globe. Hello to you all. Good morning.
Good morning. We're best in the morning. That's why we like to do our talks in the morning.
From the bottom of our hearts, we wish you well.
We told you all this has been done to us maliciously.
What?
Now we're going to show you further evidence of it all. It goes from doctors to lawyers to government officials to liars.
Down the line
and
to the
it's all a bunch
military.
of lies. And this was a well-organized, planned attack.
And
No other way to put it.
premeditated and
To cause
with
harm
full
in my death.
malice. Before Jane starts explaining more about the things that happened to her, I want to show the world and Christopher Wray what Jane looked like under a doctor's care. And when is this?
2014.
2014.
That's when I had C. diff, SIBO.
C. diff.
Supposedly. Now, who knows what really was going on with me because I trusted these people implicitly.
Jane was telling her doctors the whole time that this isn't working. I don't feel better. Their response to her was, "Oh, you got to give it time."
With antacids.
Their treatments were antacids, Plaquenil,
And Miralax.
Miralax, and then
Oh, I have an array. I'll get that up there. I mean, it's too numerous, besides all the pain medication, so that I didn't feel what was actually happening to me. And if I wouldn't have gone off them before the C. diff, I would not be alive today, and I have no doubt about it.
So this is what Jane looks like following a doctor's care.
Complete all the time.
She wound up curing herself with cider vinegar, lemons, and honey. But here you go. Wait till you see this. And then, world, you're going to understand why I'm upset, because this is so much bigger than Jane and I. It goes to the core of what this country is.
And what they're willing to do
and
to
what
another
they're willing to
human
do.
being.
Check this out. By the way, the FBI has all this information. I'm shaking. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, we're nervous. Oh, it doesn't show up. Wait a minute. I'll attach it because it doesn't show up. This is what I wrote in 21. This is July 2014 with C. diff and SIBO, full of bacteria, on Plaquenil for 3 weeks. When we got back, I immediately called Joseph Grassani. Remember, Governor Cuomo appointed his relative, I don't know how they're related.
To a judge's spot.
Yes, that's why we put him in our song. I was told to discontinue the Plaquenil, and they made an appointment for me. Every single doctor told me I was fine. There was nothing wrong. Take Miralax. Your entire immune system depends on digestive health. If my digestive health was poor, they helped create that environment.
Kowalski told her to eat yogurt. That was the thing I was.
And I was already full of bacteria, so that would have. I slept for 2 weeks straight. I couldn't even pick my head up off the pillow. Okay. Then
so
I want to
that's
tell you how easy it was for my family to do it. And I'll give you an example because that's all I know how to do is give examples of it. When I was living with Melissa Kedron, I called her a whore because she had some guy at the house, chief petty officer from the Navy, by the way. I won't name names. I'm done naming names. Because people are used. I don't know if everybody's the same, but I know they're all used. If they commit a crime or do something wrong, it's used against them in this country. She broke my nose. She punched the living daylights out of me. They're accusing me of violence.
Yes.
While committing violence upon me. And when I went right to school that day, it was in my junior year with Mr. Borison. I walked into class and he looked at me and said, "Who did that?" And he said, "File a police report. She shouldn't get away with it." You know what I said? I can't do that. That's my sister. That's how easy it was for these people to take advantage of me and harm me. I was a perfect victim for them because I was loyal to them even though no one was ever loyal to me. And if you recall on our last talk, we talked about the psychobabblers. Well, think of this. My ex-brother-in-law was head psychiatrist of the local Buffalo Veterans Administration. If you don't think that they were all helping with all of this mind fucking, and excuse my French,
But it was.
it was a mind fuck.
Keep in mind, too, Globe, all these people that we talk about that are part of this, these people got their jollies torturing a 4'10" disabled senior United States citizen. So,
and you know what?
Oh, it's just much bigger than
they
just
never
Jane
claimed
and I.
I was violent until I wanted a divorce because I was so unhappy, so afraid of them, and that was part of the mental mind fuck. Joe Kish in 1998 filed documents against me, accusing me of violence and intimidation. Yeah, because everybody was so... My kids were bigger than I was. They were so afraid of me. But, according to the documents, they finally, on May 11th, 1998, docket number 0-7670-98, it was an order of dismissal. You know why? Because he never had any evidence. Because I was never violent.
Just like now, Globe, the United States...
And I will scan that in as well.
Said that Jane and I are crazy, and that's fine, because if
what
Jane...
they did to us
maybe
would drive anyone crazy,
Maybe
by the way.
the whole world should be crazy, because you wouldn't be out there harming each other then. Fine, this is the two crazy people. But guess what, Globe? The United States of America has only their idle accusations. That's all they have.
When I told you that he committed me, or had me commit myself, really, is what it boiled down to try and figure myself out. I have a letter. See, it all coincides with the divorce. Remember, he's already committed fraud with the house in Huntington. Remember that. He's already committed, and much more. On April 20th, 1998, this was from Marian Florentine Lupu, MD, a psychiatrist, clinical assistant professor of psychiatry, diplomat, American Board of Forensic Examiners. Okay? He wrote, to whom it may concern, Jane Kish is under my treatment from 3/19 up to date, which was the first time I ever met him was at the hospital. Joe set this all up with that doctor because the doctor I was seeing refused to do it. I don't know if that was Dr. Rubenstein. She didn't want to get involved in it somehow. Even though she would tell me one thing, she would tell me that I was depressed because of my physical health. That's all she ever said. And here, you know, I tried so many different antidepressants, and none of them made me feel better. I settled for Wellbutrin and Abilify, which also changed who I am.
Yep.
But, okay, no. This is what she was treated in my office. No violent behavior was shown at this time. It is my professional opinion that she is not a violent person at this time. I will be glad to provide you any information if needed. Thank you for your cooperation in this matter. And I will attach this video as well, because this is too big. This is them setting up a history of violence where there is none.
By the way, I'll reiterate again, we sent documentation to the FBI
and
about this stuff. So once we got crickets, we knew our lives are changed forever, because once you have this kind of evidence and proof that something is awry,
and nobody cares, and no one does.
Right.
Not one judge, not one lawyer, not one doctor stood up and did the right thing.
So, Globe, we're okay that our lives are over, because I want you, like I told you, the only goal I have is so you fully understand who and what these people are and to expose them to you.
And this is a letter from my attorney to Joe's attorney, which I obtained him through the Volunteer Lawyer Project. It is my understanding, Mr. Gagola, it is my understanding that you represent Joseph P. Kish II in a matrimonial proceeding against Jane M. Kish. Please be advised that I will be representing Miss Kish. And then, let's see, I want to get to the gist. I can put this up here. I would ask that you forward to my office a copy of the summons with notice or the summons and complaint if that was also served on my client. And by the way, that restraining order was never served to me. I had no idea it even existed until I went home and they told me I couldn't be in my own home, that I paid for. The deposit on the house in Angola was my Social Security money yet again.
Yet again. Another thing for Kish to bleed her dry. And then because, you see, you have to see the attachment because the Kish family is
well connected.
Well connected.
That's all I can say.
With Western New York's area money.
And with Murray being in the federal government, this was easy for them to do to me.
And the way Jane is, I mean,
I'm so trusting.
This is a kind, compassionate woman who was easy pickings for this.
I would have never thought that my own family was trying to harm me and steal and do any of this thing. I would, if we didn't go to Jennifer's house and leave our home thinking we sold it, we would have never in a million years guessed it because it was all in our face. They wanted us to know, and they wanted us to sound crazy trying to explain this.
Down to the fraud of the sale of this home.
And the purchase of it.
We sold this home. And Cheektowaga going to tell you we abandoned our home?
And then
no way.
The amount of trouble we've had from the Cheektowaga police.
Oh, my. Just staggering.
It's still going on.
And it's still, all this is still ongoing.
They're attacking us, planes.
They could pretend,
whatever,
like D.A. Flynn can pretend about like statute of limitations and stuff like that.
There is no statute because it's ongoing.
By the way, Globe, this is what Jane looks like all these years later, and not under a doctor's care. By the way, we have researched enough about human health and human digestion and things like that
and the things they put in my face.
We can keep ourselves looking like this with the foods that we eat,
even under the stress and duress that they've caused.
Correct.
Finally, my client also advises me that she consented to her Social Security check, disability check being deposited directly into your client's account. Please be advised that my client has already contacted Social Security and that the direct deposit into your client's account will terminate with a check due for May 1st, 1998. However, the April 1998 check will still be deposited into your client's account. In light of the financial circumstances of my client, I am requesting at this point you direct your client to forward a check to my client in the amount of $498. That's what I was making in 1998. Representing her Social Security disability she will receive for April 1st. My client has no other income at this point.
So the guy was taking her Social Security money. What understanding she was in the position?
They wanted me to be homeless.
Wouldn't even give her money back.
That's letter one.
Nonsense.
And I kept everything. I know. Don't get yourself so upset. I received a telephone call. This is Mr. Herzig again. I received a telephone call from my client stating that your client has provided her with a $30 to her last month's check in April. Obviously, this is not sufficient at all. It does seem interesting, however, that he does have the funds to take his children to Florida over the Easter holiday. And then also my client must receive some type of maintenance from your client commencing April 24th, 1998. On the assumption that my client will be receiving $475 per month from Social Security disability, my client will be seeking $150 per week in maintenance. After we have had an opportunity to review this information with your client, please let me know if you're agreeable to this or if I will need to prepare a notice of motion for temporary relief. He sent me 2 checks, and that's in the next letter.
We're just giving you this information because it shows
his
pattern,
history,
the history and the pattern of where this all starts from. So now this goes back to the United States of America is telling you that Jane and I are the crazy ones,
or violent,
and violent. And
you know what? You know why they
had jobs.
You know why they had to do this to us here? because I never was violent.
Never.
And they tried so hard
Never.
to make me violent by interfering with our sleep. The constant, no one could put up with the kind of noise we
And the
put up with.
pollution that was brought here.
I couldn't go in the backyard without a truck following me. Ending up, he wouldn't follow me. He just, if I was out in the backyard, because I would garden every day, so I did a little bit every day because of my health.
But he would pull in and go right to where she was.
No matter where I was in the yard, the truck would pull up right next to me and sit there and idle.
And then we went everywhere. DEC, EPA.
EPA. I went to politicians, local
neighborhood
government,
preservation,
everything under the
police,
sun. There is no
FBI, and then crickets.
I even have
cancer. Remember, cancer rates are up in this zip code, and then the one just west in the city of Buffalo, New York. So these people can justify it any way they want. They're still, what their actions have harmed the citizens.
He has been stealing and committing fraud. His daughters told me, and I'll never call them my children again, they're the most hateful creatures on the planet, and I'm sad for them.
Yep.
They kept telling me that he made twice the amount of money that he told me he made. The only way he could have done that is if he funneled it into his pension, which is why they don't want me to receive it.
When we after this fake sale and the fraud fell through, we came back to this home at 24 Goring Avenue in August of 2019. Within a week, Jillian Kish, who lives in Houston or somewhere in Texas, is
not
calling
Cheektowaga police.
And
I have that out there. I was angry.
And these other people that said that they got reports that, what were the reports that someone was mentally unstable, or
I don't know. We were having. It's all out there. I'll share all of them.
But anyways, they sent two that I call children, because I'm 59, almost 60 years old, 20-some-year-old children. Well, these two that said, we want Jane to come out because we want to evaluate her, and then started saying all this stuff, they violated Jane Kedren's HIPAA laws. But this is the priceless part about it. Right there, standing next to them, is a town of Cheektowaga police officer with his hand on his gun like this. Like, we were called here. I didn't call you.
No one called them except for someone from another household in another state.
And this is what I'm saying. Any psychopath in the United States of America
can accuse someone.
Accuse you of being crazy.
While they're terrorizing us.
And like I told the cop, and like I told the two psychobabblers, get off my property before I file harassment charges against you people. They thought I was going to submit to them
because the minute I walked outside, my rights were done as a human being.
Done. Over.
I filed court documents on my own because my lawyer told me he couldn't force my ex-husband to pay support. And here's the docket number. This was let me see when the date is. Oh, I don't know where that is. I did it several times, but I have two. No, they're all the same docket number. Okay. This one, the docket number is SF-1998-900-336. This was in regard to him not paying. He never paid. He paid me $200, and I think I forgot the letter from Herzig stating that I called him and that he wasn't paying me. But then he told me, of course, he couldn't do anything. When we went to Jennifer's, we trusted Jennifer only because we were so frazzled and sleep deprived here and scarred from the constant noise and pollution that we actually trusted her. We got there, and with, I don't know how, like I said, she tried to get in my email. Remember,
multiple things.
JP was a sheriff's deputy. They tried to cause a confrontation, which they took. JP had a truck, supposedly, a trucking company. He took Zeke overnight.
One night,
and when he came back, he was an entirely different child.
Completely different child.
But it made me sad.
That's just deeper into.
It's so bad.
Parts of all of this attack. This woman, Jennifer Kish, which is supposedly Jane's
I gave
daughter.
birth to her.
When
That's
we were
all.
leaving,
I was a receptacle.
her house in North Carolina, I'm in the garage. She grabs me, bawling, crying her eyes out, telling me her mother's always been a victim, and we're afraid
She'll never realize
she'll
it.
never realize
I heard
it.
the whole thing. I was standing right outside the garage door. And then the next morning, JP tells Mike, because we're leaving,
Yeah.
we decided to stay overnight because it was too late at night to
We have
leave.
to calm everything
And,
down.
Yeah, and
for
we needed
us.
a good night's
For
sleep.
us, I could
At
have cared
least-
less about them at the time. It was about us.
But we woke up the next morning and we were packing. I wasn't staying where it was unsafe. But then JP started with Mike, and he goes, well, we're worried about your wife's health. And Mike said, nonsense. Then it became
her mental health, and I said, this is nonsense. I've been with Jane for over a decade at that time, almost 2 decades. You people are doing this on purpose, trying to set her up as
Why?
she's this violent, crazy person. These people are so evil. They're deranged. They're mentally deranged. So anybody that's
They
involved
even
with
brought
this...
Jody Kish into my life. And I looked and I kept saying to Mike, why would she want to be friends with me
Yeah.
when I was married to her brother for 20 years and she never even called
and
me?
treated Jane like she was a leper.
Like I didn't exist.
Like she's some unworthy, a below me stoop or something. But anyways, we got to let him go. It's 21
All right.
minutes. We will come back with more because we have so much to say.
This has been ongoing, and it's been a total setup from the beginning.
But I
have more than enough proof. That's why we couldn't get a lawyer in this house, because they committed fraud right from the get-go.
And I'm going to leave you with this, Globe. If this is how crazy people interact and behave, then maybe you should try it, because you wouldn't be out there harming each other.
I've
Love you,
always been
Globe.
able to turn the other cheek.
Love you, Globe. Take
Love
care,
you
everybody.
so
Calm.
much.
You got to
Thank
get some
you.
calm, some peace, serenity. Take care.